Hey guys, it's your good buddy, Uncle Ben. Oftentimes on the guitar, the scale shapes that we choose to use greatly influence our phrasing. This is especially true for everybody's favorite 2-note per string minor pentatonic scale pattern. The easy to see and play 2-note per string layout of that scale pattern has given us access to a lot of classic licks that you've heard your entire life. Those licks are great and they're easy to see whenever you're using that position of the scale, but the problem is if that's the only way that you know how to play the minor pentatonic scale, all your licks can end up sounding just like everybody else's. So in today's video, I'm going to show you guys some of my other favorite positions for the minor pentatonic scale. They're going to show you guys how you can really open up your phrasing and add some new things into your vocabulary. Full tabs and charts for this lesson can be found over on my Instagram page at Ben Eller Guitars, or you can just search for hashtag Uncle Ben's Pentatonic Positions. Downloadable tabs, backing tracks, bonus lessons, and so much more are available to everybody who supports my channel over on patreon.com/Ben Eller Guitars. This week, just for my super cool patrons, I'm also going to be uploading a short video detailing how I like to take one of the coolest positions you're going to learn in this video and turn it into that super sexy blues scale. So sign up for that Patreon page today. Even at just the $1 a month level, you're going to get access to that bonus lesson and so much more. Thanks. Okay, so all the examples we're going to be talking about today are going to take place in the key of guitar, E. So the first pattern that we're going to talk about today rearranges the typical 2-note per string minor pentatonic scale pattern into something a little bit different. We're going to rearrange this into being a 2 plus 3 on the next string pattern. So you can see essentially what I've done is I've taken the first 4 notes of the typical box position scale and then just basically said to myself, what if I stole this note, the D note that usually occurs on the 12th fret D string, and put it up here on the A17, okay? So the pattern on the low E is going to go 12, 15, E and G. And then on the A string here, we're going to have 12, 14, 17, A, B, D, right? Notice fingering wise here, I'm using 1, 3, 1, 2, 4, okay? So obviously the minor pentatonic scale is called that because it has 5 notes, hence penta, right? So whenever I rearrange those notes into a 2 plus 3 pattern, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, that is all 5 notes of the minor pentatonic scale. That means that it's going to be really easy to take this 2-string pattern that encompasses the entire minor pentatonic scale and just simply copy and paste it up an octave. Just look for the next E note on the board, the 14th fret D string, and think about putting that pattern there. So we're going to end up with this. 14, 17, 14, 16, 19. Again, that's all 5 notes of the scale, so then copy and paste at the next available E note, the 17th fret B. We're going to play it like this. 17, 20, 17, 19, and 22. That also puts you in spitting distance of getting a cool, full step bend up to the root note E, or if you're playing a 24 fret guitar like me, you can just slide on up to it. So a 2 plus 3 pattern moving through the minor pentatonic scale is going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a couple of benefits to playing the scale with this configuration. For one, obviously you get a lot more range out of it than you do when you play it right here. That just cuts off at this high G note. We're getting all the way up, almost up here to that final octave of high E. So you get a lot of coverage on the neck when you play it this way. Another really cool thing about the arrangement of notes in this pattern is that it enables you to do some economy picking through the scale. Down, up, down, up, down. Now just connect that last downstroke that you did onto the next string when you copy and paste the pattern. Down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down. Down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up. Here's another pattern that I use all the time that's based on that same 2 plus 3 mentality. I think I even did this one in a video a little while back. Check it out. It's really easy to see this one. So what I like about this one is, again, it's the 2+3 idea, so you can do the same economy picking stuff that we talked about with the last pattern. But the cool thing about this one is it's just a lot boxier and kind of easier to see. What we're going to do here is actually not start off on the root note. We're not going to begin on E. We're going to begin on the flat 7, which is the D note in this scale. So what we're going to do here is we're going to play the 10th fret on the low E. Again, that's the flat 7. Always kind of eyeball where the root is and start a step below that for this pattern. We're going to use fingers 1 and 2 here. And then on the next string, play the exact same shape and add in your little finger a step above that. 10, 12, 10, 12, 14. Really easy to see. Now again, that's 5 notes. That's the entire pentatonic scale starting from the flat 7. Flat 7, root, flat 3rd, 4th, 5th. So then, just like the other thing that we talked about a second ago, just copy and paste to this D note. So that's 12, 14, 12, 14, 16. Then copy and paste to this D note, which is the B string fret 15, 17, high E, 15, 17, 19, okay? Another really cool thing that I like about these 2+3 patterns is you can take the 3-note portion of any of them and double up the notes for a total of 6, like this. By phrasing it that way, it becomes open season for some pretty lethal alternate picking ideas. Because if you phrase it this way, you're going to end up going down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Then you change strings. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. All those string changes happened after upstrokes. So it makes it a lot easier than phrasing licks where the picking is changing and flip-flopping all around like crazy. But if you don't feel like doing some guitar yoga and making those big stretches happen, or maybe you're in like a position where those stretches are a little bit too brutal, you can always rearrange the notes of that to fit a really nice, easy to play, boxy sliding pattern like this. So by taking my 3rd finger on the 4th note, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then just sliding it up a whole step, it puts me right there above the next D note that I can use to restart this pattern. Again, copy and paste. Here's your next D note. So the stretches that we ran into in those first 2 shapes are a great warm-up for what's coming next, which is a 3+1 shape that is ideal for economy picking and sweeping. Check it out. Here's the best way to think about this pattern, because it is still based on the familiar, first position minor pentatonic scale. What you're going to do with it, though, is simply rob a note from one string and put it on the next string, right? So here on the low E, I'm playing 12, 15, 17, E, G, and A. Now this means that I don't need to play this note, that familiar back wall of the minor pentatonic scale. Again, I've robbed this note and put it up here. So that means my next note in the pattern is going to be right there, the A string, fret number 14. That gives us a configuration of 1, 2, 3 notes on the E, and then 1 note on the next string. Next in the pattern, what we're going to do here is to carry out that same idea, where think about taking that segment of the scale, rob this note, the G note, and put it up here instead. So on the D, you're going to have 12, 14, 17. Then we're going to go to the G here on fret number 14, the A note. Again, we don't need to play this note. We stole it and put it up here, right? So next in the scale here, we're going to play the B string, 12, 15, and 17, B, D, and E. And then lastly, a single note here on the high E string. Again, we robbed the E. We put it up here instead this time. So that makes the entire thing go like this. 12, 15, 17, 14. 12, 14, 17, 14. 12, 15, 17, 15. Again, the big advantage of this is that you can really economy pick like hell through it. Because if you just carry those downstrokes out, you can just fall through this thing at hyperspeed. The best example of somebody just completely obliterating this pattern is Dweezil Zappa. Watch Dweezil improvise and you're sure to see him in some of these wide, stretchy minor pentatonic scales. And if you'll watch his picking hand, you'll see a lot of consecutive downs and consecutive ups. Because whenever you economy pick through this thing, you end up with like this 3-string kind of sweep through the whole thing like this. Down, up, down, carry it through, down, carry it through, down, up, down. down, down. Down, up, down, down, down. See that 3-string sweep right there? That's the best way to kind of practice this. Don't really worry about trying to get the entire thing knocked out. Just worry about trying to really feel those 3 connecting downstrokes that travel through those 3 strings. Down, up, down, up, down. Down, up, down, up, down. Down, up, down, up, down. Or if you were descending through, you could go up, 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 down, up. It doesn't take a lot of fiddling around with that pattern there to find that you can just really roll through it with the pick and get some pretty devastating results fast. It's also cool too because whenever you end up with 3 notes on a string, it opens up the possibility for more of that fusiony, legato sound that you hear players like Guthrie Govan and Brett Garsted and a lot of other players use. So the next one here uses that idea we've been talking about robbing a note from one string and putting it on another, and takes it even further. Check it out. Now that is a really cool sounding pattern. Again, tons of hammer-ons and pull-offs there because obviously it's tapped. There's not a lot of picking going on, which gives it that velvety smooth sound. Okay, so picture this. We're kind of taking the same idea we talked about with the 3-in-1 kind of sweeping pentatonic pattern that we talked about last time. We're stealing this note and putting it here on this string, right? But now what we're also going to do is steal the next note, the B note, and we're going to put it in the picking hand up here. Now a key to kind of visualizing this stuff is that the 2 notes that we're adding on to the pattern, so these are the original notes and this is the annex, the annex, as I'm calling it, is always going to look exactly like what was going to happen on the next string anyway. You see that whole step between those 2 notes, right? It looks the exact same way in the annex. So here on the low E string, we're going to have 12, 15, 17, and tap the 19. Now we've played both of the notes that were typically on the A string, so what we're going to do next is skip a string and go here to the D. Now again, this is going to use its original 2 notes, the D and E notes on 12 and 14, but we're also going to rob these and put them on that same string. So we're going to end up with 12, 14, 17, tap on the 19. This is tricky because the first pattern had you stretching it to 15, this one has you going 14. So I recommend going from 1st, 3rd, 4th tap to 1st, 2nd, 4th tap. And then again, because we've already played the 2 notes that were going to happen on the G, we're going to skip to the B string next and play 12 and 15. Now again, this is where the visualization thing really comes into play here. Usually on the high E string, you'd have kind of that minor 3rd gap, right? From the E to the G notes. Again, we're going to steal those 2 notes and put them on the B string instead. It's going to look like this. So again, notice the minor 3rd gap right there. Same as that string would have looked if we kept those notes, right? 12, 15, 17, and then you're going to tap on the 20. Again, this is a little tricky because you got to watch the right hand here. The other taps have been on 19. This is going to jump up a fret to 20. 19, 19, 20. Again, I love the sound of those like hyper speed tapped minor pentatonic licks like that. And there's not a snowball's chance in hell of playing those in a 2-note per string pentatonic box. Okay, so we had the first 2+3 shape that started from the root. We had the second one that started a whole step down from that on the flat 7. This is the one that's easy to convert into the sliding pentatonic shape. Both of those patterns being great for economy picking or some cool sequenced alternate picking ideas. The next one that we talked about was the 3+1 idea, where we robbed a single note and displaced it onto another string. Again, this is also great for the economy picking thing. And the ultimate in pentatonic terror, the 4-note per string tapped string skipping form. Try using those patterns in conjunction with the traditional minor pentatonic scale shape, and I guarantee you're going to be playing some licks that you've never played before. From my experience, the more ways you can figure out to play any scale, the more you're going to be able to do with it. So take these ideas and keep expanding on them in your own playing. Thank you guys as always for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel for new stuff coming at you all the time. Be sure to ring the bell down there for notifications every time I upload a new slice of fried gold. If you learned something from this video and want to help support my channel, be sure to visit that Patreon page at patreon.com/Ben Eller Guitars. Well guys, it's been fun as always. I hope everyone out there is happy and healthy and using this crazy weird downtime that we're all in right now to practice their guitar playing and get their chops razor sharp. But as for me, it's dinner time. So get away from the computer, grab your guitar and start playing. Less clicking, more picking.